We really appreciate that you're here at this empty chair town hall. It is empty because our congressional representative, Jeff Hurd, was invited but did not answer our response, did not give a response and reply. So it is empty, but we are here, so it's not really a completely empty town hall, and we really appreciate your being here.
I wrote you back in September, thanking you for standing up for our First Amendment rights when you tabled the motion to censure Representative Ilhan Omar for comments regarding the death of Charlie Kirk. Last week, I received a thank you email in which you stated, and I quote, "As a constitutionalist, I believe in upholding and defending the rights our founding fathers had the foresight to grant us in the Constitution. I believe the Constitution is clear and not open to interpretation," end quote. In running for Congress, your website stated, quote, "Jeff is committed to the Constitution and the rule of law," end quote. And yet, it appears that those strong convictions of yours wane when it comes to the actions of Donald Trump. Every day, he and his administration violate the Constitution and conduct illegal activities. Your silence and inaction regarding these unlawful acts indicate there are exceptions when it comes to your belief in upholding the Constitution and the rule of law. And I ask you to please explain that.
A big group of people who use the current subsidies of the Colorado Connect for Health are small business owners. When I considered leaving my employer to start my own business, I looked at health insurance costs. I need health insurance due to asthma, but the monthly premiums had to be covered by how much income my new business could generate. Fortunately, I found a high deductible plan for $300 a month and did my best to never get sick. Insurance premiums kept rising. By 2015, I was paying $500 a month, which left me with a very tight budget of $100 a month for any and all expenses beyond my most basic necessities. Talking house mortgage and utilities, food. Once these supplemental premiums became available, I had a more workable monthly budget and no longer needed to deplete my savings. Being over 65, I'm on Medicare now. These critical health insurance supplements not only save our health costs, they also encourage entrepreneurs like me to start their own businesses. Small business is a reliable economic engine and job creator in our community. Representative Hurd, you recently noted on NPR that if the U.S. government is reopened without funding these health insurance supplements, you couldn't guarantee that they would get funded even for the next 12 months. Please consider what a lack of health insurance would do to your constituents' small businesses here in Colorado and our local economy. We taxpayers pay for health insurance for all our members of Congress, even though your salaries are much higher than ours. Please consider what it would be like to try and pay over $800 a month for health insurance premium when you're earning below $2,500 a month after taxes. This is 1/3 our take-home pay. Thank you.
Who do you serve? Let's take the back door into answering that question by looking at who you are not serving. First, the public. You have repeatedly declined to attend town halls, case in point, and have dismissed the legitimate concerns of thousands of constituents as political theater, using harmful rhetoric to discredit community voices. For example, the title of your most recent newsletters have been "The Democrat Shutdown." So let me ask you, Representative Hurd, where have you been the past 7 weeks? Not in DC and not in your communities that you represent. This erodes trust as well as accountability in your office.
Among many things, I'm extremely concerned about forests, wildlife, water, and other natural resource issues in the U.S. How are the U.S. Forest Service and Bureau of Land Management going to manage over 700 million acres of land in the U.S. with such dwindling staff in management and research and development. The U.S. used to be a world leader in this area, but we are quickly slipping. I strongly urge you to fully support funding our federal agencies. Also, please support federal funding to universities and state forest services. They are especially helpful for state and private and industry forest landowners.
And Congressman Hurd, my comment for you is the same as it was in April. I am a pediatric behavioral therapist in Durango, and I work with neurodivergent children. Most of the kids that I work with have autism, some have other developmental delays, and all need support with behavior. The work that I'm doing is really fun and engaging, and I love it, and it's desperately needed. I've only been doing this work for a year, and already we have a 6-month wait list. Thanks to the big beautiful bill, Medicaid cuts for my services have already happened. Our rates were cut on October 1st, and our rates in Colorado are already pretty low. So this makes what I am doing really difficult. I'm gonna keep doing it. I'm very passionate about it. But when I hear you going on national television and talking about how you have protected Medicaid, it breaks my heart. 70% of the kids that I work with are on Medicaid. The other 30% are on the ACA. We are a rural community. We desperately need expansion to healthcare and access. But when you make these kinds of budget decisions, it makes it so hard. And we as providers struggle ourselves. I live paycheck to paycheck. So, Congressman Hurd, what is the Republican plan for healthcare? We would like to see something, not a concept of a plan.
The U.S. Constitution says that our government exists to serve the people, and our elected representatives are the mechanism through which laws and decisions are made about how best to do that. I'm wondering what has happened to that sacred trust. Congress seems to have accepted fealty to a president who would be king over fealty to the people of America. Why has Congress abandoned the system of checks and balances that our government was founded on? You are my representative in the House. I look to you and other leaders to act on the priorities of the majority of Americans rather than the whims of one. Do you do your job? Show respect for the people of America and for the system of government we deserve.
On October 27th, 2 children and their father were abducted from our community. They were held under inhumane conditions, assaulted, and then trafficked across state lines. They have broken no laws, they have no criminal records, and they are here legally. The children's mother, much like their father, is a hardworking member of this community. She remains in our community, doing everything in her power to secure the safety of her children. There is absolutely no reason for this kidnapping and human trafficking event, and there is no reason they have not come home. We have stepped up as a community, and we were brutalized for it, yet we will not be deterred. What are you doing, Hurd, to ensure justice is brought forth and our community members are returned to us? We ask that you take a stance against this clear-cut case of child abduction and human trafficking. This case is about as complicated as a bread sandwich. You have the power to make a difference. Publicly denounce the actions of federal agents on October 27th and 28th, and dedicate your time to ensuring our community members are brought home. No issue is as pertinent as this. No matter requires your attention like this one. They were kidnapped, and this community needs help. Show us, your constituents, that there is a legal option for us to pursue in getting our children back to us. You have been elected to be our voice, and we are counting on you to help our community bring them home. Do as you were elected to do.
Well, my request for you is, and the House of Representatives, is to do your job, Your job is to make laws and to allocate the federal budget. That's your job, to do that. So I expect you to push back when the executive, Mr. Trump, overreaches and tries to take control of these areas, which has been done in many, many instances.
Where is the backbone? When are we going to start preventing fires instead of just putting out burning dumpsters? And that's my question for you, is when are you going to stand up? When are you going to just stop voting because this is your side and that's how you're supposed to vote? When are you going to vote for what is right for your children and your grandchildren?
Just do your job. Believe in the Constitution. Protect the Constitution. Realign the balance of power. If only a handful of y'all would stand up, I think more would join. Because I have to think, right? I gotta think, like what Rusty said, you're not free. You're a slave. You're a peon. You're like you're serving your master. Don't do that. You're smarter than that. You're better than that. Serve us. Thank you, yeah. And serve your heart, do what's right. I believe you know what's right, and I want you to do it. Stand up, find some buddies, and stand up together.
I flew 74 sorties in Afghanistan and spent a year of my life there. I have to tell you, 6,951 service members gave their lives there and in Iraq. And having a president that accepts a $400 million jet as a bribe from jihadis in suits in Qatar that fund terrorist organizations like Hezbollah and Hamas is an absolute disgrace to their memory. I'd like to know, why have you and the rest of the GOP done nothing to arrest the breathtaking corruption of this regime?
I'm glad you're here because, I think after the president took bulldozer to part of the White House, I was furious. And I was going to my friends and I was saying, where in the world can I put my anger and my rage? And tonight, I've at least been able to come to talk to you, though through technology, which is really a shame, and be able to express a little of my anger and my rage. And there are many of us here who have rage.
In a world where there are individuals, maybe 8 of them, that are richer than the rest of the world, I don't know why we're having to give them more money. I don't know why we're having to take away health care, education, environmental protections, all of those things that people desperately need, food. Why are we taking those things away from the poor and giving more money to the wealthiest of the wealthy?
I brought my 7-month daughter here, and she needs role models. She needs role models who, when they run for office or they're in a leadership role, they are reminded that they are there to fight for the people, not to keep their job, not to make the rich richer, not to keep people in power, but to help the poor, the oppressed, the people who need public service the most. Thank you.
And I just feel like you're missing the point with the humanity that we expect in this community. And I would really like to see you stand up for us, like so many people have said. And one thing as a human rights advocate focusing on women's rights globally, I have to say, it's Project 2025 and taking voting rights away from women as a step to change our entire voting process. We live in a state where voting is easy, it's simple, it's safe. And I cannot imagine that my daughter, who is 15, will not be able to vote in 3 years if we continue down this road. I am hoping, Mr. Hurd, that you will defend our voting rights as Americans, because I too, like everyone else who has spoken, I love this country and I want it to be a place where my children are proud to live.
Thank you all for being here. As a reminder, if you have $5 or more that you're able to contribute for this event to have taken place, we've got the Venmo. We also have some cash buckets out there. We also have a QR code if you would like to offer some feedback for the event. But thank you for representing the very best of CD3.